European leaders are set to be at the meeting as well. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio had this to say about that. Take a look.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelenskyy is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're coming as back. That's not true. No, but that's not that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelenskyy from being bullied. They're not coming.
That February Oval Office meeting in front of television cameras where President Zelenskyy.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh no, I know, and I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out.
No, but it was Zelenskyy. We've had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelenskyy. So, but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelenskyy from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelenskyy from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelenskyy into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks.
Ooh, Rubio seems a bit fired up here. For more, let's bring in GOP strategist and host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle. Bobby, what do you make of all of this?
Well, good morning. Yeah, it was very eventful, that summit with Putin and what's going to happen today. And I think when you guys were alluding to the suits, you know, things takes me back to the show What Not to Wear. And I think what Zelenskyy chooses to wear or not wear sends a big message, because why he was dressed in this was to show solidarity with the soldiers at war. So for him to come out actually in a suit shows that he is going to the next step, going to the peace process. Let's end this. Let's be diplomats. Let's be leaders and bring people together. So I actually think that his outfit could be a big symbolic move in one direction or another. But I think real progress was made between Trump and Putin. It remains to be seen what happens today, but I think people need to realize that this is a peace negotiation. So it's not a surrender one side or the other. So that means concessions have to be made on both sides. And what I think you're likely going to see is territory that Russia has occupied or taken. Some of that will remain in Russian hands. And then on the flip side, Ukraine will get some kind of security guarantees that it's been hoping for as a full member of NATO without being a full member of NATO. So look forward to some of that. Maybe something emerges today, but I think these leaders are here in the case that we might have a major breakthrough.
Bobby, great perspective about Volodymyr Zelenskyy potentially showing up in a suit and the symbolism thereof. That's an interesting point you made. Let's get back to this whole issue of the narrative of the European Union leaders showing up in order to keep Volodymyr Zelenskyy from being bullied. It seems to me that these European leaders showing up is really putting even more pressure on Volodymyr Zelenskyy to move, to budge a little bit, and to give some concessions in order to realize peace. It seems to me that they're also invested just like Ukraine is invested.
Yes, yeah, they are. And so it kind of begs the story is like, what's the media narrative here? And I know that some of these European countries, they are all in on kind of this globalist mentality where Russia is the permanent enemy. You know, forget, I guess, communist China, our greatest adversary. But as long as we can have this antagonistic feelings and relations against Russia, then there's always something to build up, some kind of military movement, some kind of antagonism. And I do believe that some of them, though, want peace, want this to end, want relations to stabilize. And I think that they are coming here on that potential of a breakthrough. But make no mistake, you see the media narrative and you see some in the administration, in the establishment, government, that want this to continue. There is no doubt that they would be happy endlessly funding more weapons, more supplies to Ukraine to keep this killing of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people going in perpetuity. President Trump wants an end to that. He wants to bring peace, and the only way is to bring both sides together, negotiate, and come up with some concessions that both sides can be okay with.
Absolutely.
Bobby, if I could just follow up really quickly. I'm sorry, Emily, I just want to follow up. But do you see these European unions really pushing Volodymyr Zelenskyy maybe to concede a little bit more than he otherwise would by being here?
I think so. I really do. So I just made the point that some of them are I believe, still have that mentality, that globalist mentality. But the weight of Trump bringing Putin to the table, meeting with him, and getting concessions from him. Remember, the talk was, hey, we're going to sanction Russia if we don't get a ceasefire. Well, something happened during those discussions, something that said, hey, let's move beyond ceasefire. Let's move to actual peace talks. So whatever that is, that spurred this next meeting. And so I think there is a chance for real peace, and that those leaders see that, and their constituents are just like the Americans who are tired of this. They want to put their countries first. I believe there's pressure back home. And so, yeah, I do believe that some of them, at least, are there to say, hey, let's get this deal done.
Absolutely, Bobby. You know, you have such interesting analysis about the state of the negotiations right now, and I think you're absolutely correct. I think this region that Russia really has kind of already occupied, this Donbass region, is going to be the focus to be able to get a deal done. But looking towards the future here with this, I mean, it's very similar to what happened with Crimea. What would stop President Putin down the road from taking even more of Ukraine? Or what would stop Xi Jinping from trying to invade Taiwan? What message does that ultimately send on the world stage?
Well, I think there's a couple things. One is that we keep China at bay through the strength of President Trump. The next part is that we see the bigger picture on this Russia-Ukraine conflict. This is something that's actually been going on for decades. If you look at the fall of the Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union, the communist Soviet Union, when it fell away, what emerged was a Russian nation that wanted to embrace capitalism and wanted to be part of this League of the West. And you had people that were opposed to that every time. And this conflict, let the viewers be clear, has been brought on in large part because of the encroachment of NATO closer and closer and closer to Russia. And Russia had said, please don't do that. Don't do that. You can't, we have to have Ukraine as some kind of buffer. And administration after administration ignored that, and here we are. So I don't think Russia will continue to encroach. In fact, I believe part of this peace deal will be the guarantees of no further incursion into Ukraine or any other nations. But we need to look at the long picture, the long term, and see who our real adversaries are, and look at a country that has, Christian values and it has adopted capitalism. And yeah, they have a leader that we don't necessarily like. But as a people, as a nation, I would take them far above a communist country that is bent on world domination and imposing a communist Marxist indoctrination upon the whole world.
Bobby Eberle, as always, bringing the receipts and bringing good perspective. Good to talk to you, my friend. Appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.